Hi, it is the Human Operating System time. This channel is for educations and technology. So yesterday, my friend Mark from Tambuli Media has released an article which he interviewed me. And the article is titled, "Does Traditional Chinese Kung Fu Have a Future?" So the link is under this video if you want to read it. So after this article is released, many friends from traditional Chinese martial art, from Wing Chun, have been messaging me, asking me many different questions because now they get to know me more. And two of the questions they are asking me is, the first one is, since I have spent 2 years in the Buddha's temple or monastery's library, what really did I learn there? Okay, so what do I learn in the library of the Buddhist temple? The second question is, does Wing Chun have a future? Does Wing Chun has a future? So the first questions I like to share with you. I was in the Pemantan Siantar, Indonesia's the Buddhist temple's library. Spent time there for about 2 years, and I was giving the permission to go to the library, check out books, reading books, and so forth by my Sifu, late Venerable Fa Chan, Zen Buddhism monk, Chinese Chan. And actually, my late Sifu Fa Chan is the student of the late Venerable Sekko Sam of who is very famous, well known in Southeast Asia. So I spent about 2 years there studying, reading different stuff because I like to investigating on things. And what I really studied inside there actually changed my life. It really changed my life. See, I am planning to come to United States for my educations, for my engineering. I love electrical engineering design. I love that since I was a kid. So on the other side, I've been practice different martial arts, right? So I went to the study in the library, want to know what happened in the Buddhism teaching and so forth, because without that you cannot crack the code of the 1850s Siu Lim Tao Kui. So it is a truth that even my Sifu, late Sifu Cho Hong Choi, and the Cho family, there are many things in that creed they do not be able to decode when they come down to the my Sifu's generation, which is the 4th generations from Yit Gam in the Red Book. So this 100 years later. So the only thing you can find out what happened is get into Buddhism, right? So here, as I mentioned in the interview, because my grandfather is one of the person who support to brought Buddhism to the northern Sumatra. So my teacher and grand teacher, monk, they all know my grandfather. So when the grandson want to study Buddhism, then I got a VIP treatment, get inside there and study, read, and check out books. Okay, it was exclusive. I saw a lot of things inside there. Buddhist scriptures, martial art stuff, because my grand teacher, Seiko Sam, is a real Shaolin martial monk. You can check on it today. Okay, it's a real, and he brought Shaolin martial art to Southeast Asia. My Sifu Fa Chan, Venerable Fa Chan, also studied martial arts and Chinese medicines. So I see many things there. And but that seeing all those things in that 2 years actually changes me. It changed my life. You see, at that time I'm in Indonesia. I'm supposed to go to America for my university. Okay, so you be educated. Okay, in that sense. On the other hand, I have learned so much different type of martial arts. I was a Kyokushin member at that time and so forth. Have a whole bunch of friends and so forth. So I'm pretty egoistic at that time, age of 17. Okay. So I graduate top in my high school. So it's pretty gung-ho stuff. But I went inside there, I read there. And of course, my family, my grandfather's side is very well-to-do businessman. Okay, so I went inside there. I read many scripture and found out the martial art stuff, Shaolin martial art stuff, with the all documents and everything. That is where I found out the 6 healing sounds and the Shaolin martial arts, and how the Shaolin martial art connect to the Anapanasati. And also, on the other hand, is I found out about Surangama. And then, because all this kind of information is about power. And you read there, what they can do if you have the capability of the 6 healing sound or the Anapanasati. And you read there are 52 states of Samadhi state of in Surangama. So of course, I'm 17 years old, 18 years old. I would love to have that thing, because if you think about it, what do you have in your hand? If I have the engineering, I have the martial art, and I have this handling of this Samadhi stuff, what do I have? Practically, you're thinking like, well, I want to be invincible. And you know that, after you read that, you know that what in the outside world, they don't have it. However, it is not like that. The minute I get into the Surangama Sutta, after studying for a while, my teacher Fa Chan, Venerable Fa Chan, asked my grandma that he want to take me as a monk, so can ordain me as a monk. And he asked me too, and he told me that, he said, Hendrik, since you read all this much, you know you cannot be a good businessman like your family anymore. And you know that you cannot be a ruler, meaning like politicians, because you read Surangama. Well, at that time, it's really an eye-opening about the Surangama, because you found out that it is not that what you want to do. It is you have to watch out for what is the consequence of whatever you do. And you have to pay back for that thing. Okay, Surangama is that's really tight on that. So, but I don't like to be a monk. I don't want to be like that. I like to investigate on things. I like to solve problems. and I don't like to be a monk. And of course, the businessman side, the invincible guy is fading away. Those kind of goals fade away after Red Sangama, because you suddenly you see, wow, this is, you know, so if I do business, this is the consequence, this is the consequence, and so forth. So I just get into the investigations and solution part. But I don't want to be a monk. You know why I don't want to be a monk? I don't like to live in the monastery, all those kind of stuff. You know, I like to be free. So that's what I learned inside there. It practically changed my life. And sometimes I just jokingly tell my friend and my family, my wife, I said, you know what? That 1850 Shulim Tao kit actually is a bait. You know, like you want to fishing, the hook on the bait. If I don't have read that the 1850s Shulim Tao kit, I will not go to that library. If I not be going to the library, I will not find out Srangama, I will not find out all this thing. Probably right now I am some kinds of a VP or founder of the Silicon Valley corporation. Maybe I'm a good businessman and making a lot of money, but not dealing with this. But with that, my life changed. And my friends, because I'm missing in action, you know, at that time when I was young, I always group with people at night and so forth, then I'm suddenly missing. Okay, so the life travel different path. So that is what I learned there. So in that library, there's a lot of things of the in the past generations. Okay. Now, as for does Wing Chun have a future? If we want to answer these questions, we need to know one thing. What is Shaolin Kung Fu? What is Shaolin Kung Fu? What is it? Today you see there is a mess there. Is the Shaolin Kung Fu really Shaolin Kung Fu still? Really? As what I read inside that library. And also, you look at today's style, everything you put the Tai Chi internal in. What is that thing? Asking, well, what is that thing? So today I like to share with you what is the real deal Shaolin Kung Fu. Okay? Because I'm inside that library for 2 years, and later on I read and I ask and all kind of stuff. Okay? And also this thing, what I'm going to share with you is the truth of traditional Chinese martial arts. If you don't have this anymore, you don't have traditional Chinese martial arts. Just let's not kidding ourselves. So, what is the ultimate of traditional Chinese martial arts? Qi, magic, fudging, that's called nonsense. The ultimate of the Chinese martial art, traditional Chinese martial art, is actually consistent with Sun Zhi Bing Fa. The Chinese, the ancient Chinese, or the Chinese, the uniqueness of Chinese is the capability of using momentum. So if you read the Chinese, ancient Chinese classic, it always talk about 造势, making momentum, create momentum, 用势, how to use the momentum. Like in Sun Zhi, chapter 5, chapter 6, you read that. That is Chinese. Okay? Because if you look at it, that Chinese is going that way, so it win in the war by intelligence, how to use it, how to use the momentum. Now, in fighting, in combat of traditional Chinese martial art, as I translate in the Wing Chun matrix, that is General Qigong, okay? He sum up there, he sum it, okay? And this page 11 in the Wing Chun matrix, he sum it, said, one momentum succeeds another momentum to defeat the enemy. One momentum succeeds another momentum. So one transforms to another momentum to defeat the enemy. The momentum changes without exhaustion. Okay, so the momentum changes without exhaustion, keeping changing. The change is unpredictable and subtle. Enemy is unable to predict the trend of the momentum changes. This is called superb. So the bottom line of the traditional Chinese martial art 400 years ago have already summed. The ultimate is of the fighting is the dynamic impulse momentum handling. That is the dynamic ultimate of traditional Chinese martial art and Chinese culture. So General Qigong's writing and Sun Tzu writing, they are parallel, or not parallel, they are the same concept. The thing is that Sun Tzu is more kinds of philosophical, Qigong is implementation. Okay? So the ultimate of fighting of traditional Chinese martial art is dynamically handling the impulse momentum changes to defeat your opponent. Okay? Not today's nonsense, okay? What Qi, what Fa Jing, what secret, that's completely nonsense. Okay? That is this. And you know that due to this implement of dynamic impulse momentum handling, you need a multi-dimensional fighting arts to support it. Multiple dimensional. That is what Qigong do, reform it. So what is the multi-dimensional fighting arts? So as I point out, I share here in this Resurrecting Wing Chun, there is the upper strategy, middle strategy, and lower strategy. Upper strategy is long range, kick, punch, strike, those kind of stuff. Okay? Long range, it can be up or down. Okay? But long range, that is the upper strategy. The middle strategy is short strike, take down, kneel down, strike. That's the middle strategy. The lower strategy is knee down, going down to the ground. Ground kick, those fighting. So this three strategy is describing what General Qigong's multi-dimensional fighting, which is an implementation of the impulse momentum handling, dynamic impulse momentum handling. So if you say that MMA is created a few years ago by Bruce Lee, blah, 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 I say, sorry, sir. 450 years ago, they already wrote it down. That's why the first chapter in this book, by evidence, I share with you what it is. Okay? And for this strategy, you know that in today's language, in order to support this strategy, you have functional training in today's sports science language. Also, you know, that is why I put in chapter 4, explain all this term. And you have to have, in today's words, the neuromuscular proficiency. Otherwise, you cannot activate your body. And you have to have your cardio and muscular endurance. So if you look at that in this two books, the Inception and Resurrection, It is there. Now ask ourselves today, are you practice traditional Chinese martial arts? You look at Wing Chun guy. What the Wing Chun guy do? What type of strategy Wing Chun guy have? Well, Wing Chun today is basically half of the mid strategy, half of the middle strategy. How often you see that the Wing Chuner fighting, and right away drop down to the knee strike, knee stance, in the knee stance, and do a throw or all kind of strike there. You know, wooden army, you have those kneeling down stuff. So you don't have it. You don't have the three strategy anymore today. Now, like Wing Chun, you talk about hand, Tan Bong Fu. Well, sorry, the ultimate General Qigong already make it clear that it is impulse momentum handling, dynamic impulse momentum handling, and you need to have the multi-dimensional. But today is already not that. So today is like prior to General Qigong. Now, as in the writing there, in the Restricting Wing Chun, I share with you the first page. General Qigong say that every martial arts system has a specialty. They are special in a narrow scope. That's why General Qigong want to get into the multi-dimensional fighting and the three fighting strategy. If you read all that the older books, like the dog fist, you know, going to the ground and so forth, even like Ngo Zhou, you can see that. And as what I mentioned in this book, the Okinawan Bubishi have that. And today you don't have it. You are back to before General Qigong. And also all this functional training, neuromuscular proficiency, your cardio, your muscular endurance. That is what Qigong's 450 years ago in today's language. So look into today's martial arts. Did people train that way? Did those internal guys keeping saying that they push hand, they can fly people around doing that? By definition, sorry to tell you, you don't have traditional Chinese martial art. You have nonsense. Okay? That's why if people is not going to go back to this Qigong, you want keeping doing your internal blah blah blah, you can go fight with Xi Xiaodong for thousands of times, and until Xi Xiaodong 80 years old, you still lost. Why? Because Xi Xiaodong is doing this. There's MMA today. What are you doing? You're doing what? Fantasy zone martial arts. There's not even Chinese. Reality is like that. You want to admit it or you don't want to admit it. Even you don't want to admit it. Even you can have political power like to try to suppress Xi Xiaodong. You dead. Why? Because this is in the history. And people is not dumb. People will find out. So again, you want to fight Xi Xiaodong with what you have in those magic chi, magic jing? That is the problem. You don't have traditional Chinese martial arts. So today, if you look at like Ngo Zhou Gun, you like Bubishi, those are real deal. But how many of us practice like that today? Sometimes people say, you know, Wing Chun have only 3 sets. How come your Ngo Zhou have so many hundreds of sets? You must be kidding. In terms of multiple dimensional fighting, the three strategy, as what I mentioned here, can group in different way to make different strategy. That's why if you go look at Kun, their sets, in the older sets, they have all up and down, they cover the three fighting strategy. So martial art at 1850s is already a mature technology. Today's martial arts, it has its development grow, but it's not growing too far from 1850s. And of course, today is more effective in training. Like now we have tools, we have these tools, there's a sport tracker and all these tools. But the major there is not travel too far. What travel too far is the Chinese no longer follow that. In the past 100 years, and keeping thinking of, if I have this chi, I can fly you. I can push you away. You see, you touch me, you fly. Let's go up to the nonsense world. Okay? And as what I show here, Shaolin. Shaolin short strike classic is influenced by General Qigong in writing black and white. So Shaolin is actually Qigong influenced martial arts. Even though somebody later played politics in China. Oh, Buddhism is from external and Taoism is from internal. So our art is internal, have all this internal. Buddhism is external. While you look into history, Man Ye Kong, moon emptiness, died in the war against the Japanese at General Qigong time, prior to Qigong success of kicking all those Japanese pirates out. Where is any a Taoist with the Qi and Jing? So who is a really patriot? Who is the really people who is internal? Did any Taoist die there in that war? But we know Ye Kong sacrificed and his people. They were sent down from Songshan, the emperor, to fight the Japanese pirate. Okay? So you have 100 years of goddamn politics and all this nonsense chi, and you screw the entire traditional Chinese martial arts up. That's what happened. The reality. By evidence. Okay? Now, let's go to another thing. Internal. Since you guys want to know what I read inside that library. Internal. I read book something like this about Shaolin. And over here, it says that when you practice martial art, first you need to practice the 6 healing sound to clear out your internal organs. Shaolin, okay? 6 healing sound to clear out your internal organs. There's internal, not those today's you have your dual meridian running this visualization bullshit. Okay, can you do it? So in the ancient Shaolin, they will not let you practice cardio-muscular endurance stuff if you don't clear out your internal organs. They know. Why they know? This is Mang Zhiyi Xiao Zi Guan, now already trained, translate in English. Okay? Chapter 9. It is called Treatment of Disorder. This is 1,500 years Buddhist book. The treatment of disorder here, six healing sound is within here. So when I read that, I want to know how is this six healing sound is. When I read this, I read this, I want to know how is that six healing sound is. How to do it. That's the reason why I'm tracking it, like tracking some kinds of aliens or something, tracking it until I know what it is and I know what to do, because everything has the limitations, but you need to know what it is, the process, what, why, how. So there's internal. And guess what? This book is a Chinese way of introduction of the Buddha's teaching, Anapanasati. See, there's two meditations the Buddha's teach, which is really, really fundamental. One is Anapanasati, which is breathing. The mind and breathing become one. And then you can handle your energy, and then you can get into samadhi. That is Anapanasati. It's not today's nonsense mindfulness. Those I don't even know why the hell people are doing those things. Those are not Buddhist at all. There's Anapanasati. Okay? Six healing sound is incorporated into this Anapanasati teaching in this book 1,500 years ago, so that the monk be able to clear out the internal organs before they do Anapanasati. Then you can get really effective practice of meditations. So one usually do the six healing sound before they get into practice of Anapanasati. That is the secret. So who know today? Well, today people seldom know already, but the late Mr. Nan Huaijing, who is the expert of Buddhism and the energy and so forth, who passed away decades ago, almost decades ago, he know that. That's why he tell everybody. Did everybody listen? Don't know. Did everybody really get it? Don't know. But he know that. Okay? In his writing, his lecture, he keeping saying that. So Buddha's teaching had two things. One is Su Xi Guan in Chinese. It's called Anapanasati. On the other thing is Bai Gu Guan. Okay, which is visualize your body turn into bones, and the bone transform into light, white light. The bone transform into white light. This is the two things which is turned into the Shaolin Xi Sui Jing and the Yi Jing Jing. Bone marrow washing. Okay, and the Taoists using the concept to get into this pay attention to Dan Tian and so forth, so forth, so forth. So that is what I learned inside there. And now you ask today, Shaolin Kung Fu, do you have this? If you don't have this theory and this practice, what do you have? You say Wing Chun is a Shaolin Kung Fu from Mui, from Ji Sim. Do you have this? Or you far, far away, fragmented? So that answers the questions. Does Wing Chun has a future? See, this is all technical terms. It's just like in the Silicon Valley, you want to design an iPad. Well, do you have the CPU? Do you have the memory? Do you have the software? Do you have the operating system? Or you have to ask the questions. And how to benchmark this thing. How to test it, how to verify it. That is Chinese Kung Fu. That is Shaolin Kung Fu. So asking, is there any still Chinese Kung Fu today? Traditional Chinese martial arts? Look around. Does it still Wing Chun there? Look around. Does it Shaolin there? Look around. Is Tai Chi a real legit martial Chinese traditional Chinese martial art? Look around. This is the reality. You like it or not, this is the reality. Okay? So hopefully that I answer your questions today. I know this thing is maybe really cold for many people. But until we face reality, we don't really be able to grow. We can. We are trapped in some kinds of hallucination now. Everybody want to be grandmaster. As in the interview said, I never want to be a monk, I never want to be a sifu, I never want to be a Qigong sifu or Wing Chun sifu or whatever sifu. That's not my goal. My goal is I love to investigate and love to solve problems. The rest I don't want to know about it. I don't want to get involved. What is the qualifications to be a sifu in traditional Shaolin martial arts? You talk about Mui, Jisim. Oh, I'm a direct descendant of the Mui, Jisim. What do you inherit there? What capability you have here? If you really have this, people hook you up with this spot tracker and the muscular endurance measurement, you'll be able to do it with this. If you have this, like in here, you want to track your brain wave, your breathing, Wing Chun Inception, you want to track your heart rate variability, if you have this, even the most basic, you can do it. But if you don't have this, we are not even having the basic. So what Sifu, what Grandmaster? Well, again, this back to the Surangama, right? Thou shalt not lie. Thou shalt not hurting living beings. That's why you want to know about the real Zen teaching. I put in my last page here the quote from my late Sifu, the Zen Patriarch Xuanhua. That is the truth of Buddhism. They know this, the Shaolin know this, but they are not using it as what we do today. Go fighting, see who is #1 fighter. You see, like a monk like Ye Kong, who fought the Japanese pirate, he died. But why did he do that? Do it for himself, for his own name, fame, money? No. So reading all this, it changed my life, because when I was young at that time, okay, Bruce Lee passed away in 1973. I was in the monastery, a library, 1977, 78. I want to be Bruce Lee too. But after that, I don't want to be Bruce Lee. I don't want to. Because everything have a consequence. And how we influence other people have a consequence. That's why in this channel, I rather to make it a culture, art study, but not martial arts. Because what good it is if I share something and you use it and you hurt somebody? There's a karma there. And sometimes people is like that. If you don't give them the weapon, they're not going to do the damage. If you give them the weapon, they're going to do the damage. And it's going to damage themselves and damage others. What good is that? Teaching you to go fight in the street, fight in the rooftop, and then boast to everybody in the world that I'm #1. That's a wrong mentality if it's shouting out. Even General Qigong said, when you fight or exchange with your friend or competitor, it's just testing to check your technical strength or weakness, and after that, shut up, move on. Okay, because that's not about your ego or who win. Oh, I win today. No, I win. Wing Chun win. And tomorrow you lose. Wing Chun lose. Got nothing to do with that. Wing Chun is a technology. Wing Chun is not different than today's Google operating system or Apple's iOS operating system. The operating system do not have a good or bad. It is a tools for human to use. It not belongs to anybody in the sense of I am the operating system. Well, nobody is operating system. We just use the operating system. So this is what I'd like to share with you. You know, with the interview, thinking back for past 1970 until today, I like to say that traditional Chinese martial art today is pretty messed up after the real old generation passed away. China, I don't really see much traditional Chinese martial art called to this anymore. I don't see it. Like these few days, Xi Xiaodong is supposed to fight another Tai Chi guy, and then was called off. Well, you look at both sides. The Tai Chi guy never like to admit that they have a problem, they never follow this thing. Xi Xiaodong is a straight guy keeping saying that I'm going to prove to you that you are cheating, this is a fake. So both parties get into that and it will be unended fighting. What does it solve at the end? What does it solve at the end? I don't know what it solve at the end, but what I know one thing is, this thing, what I wrote in this whiteboard, will completely vanish because of this. So back again, the question of Surangama, is it for you or for everybody? If it's for you, think clearly what kind of consequence you're going to take. So there's the Buddha teaching. Think clearly what consequence you're going to have when you do certain thing. If you like the consequence, do it. If you don't like the consequence, don't touch it. So this is my sharing with you today.